Usome na mask kama tutoe mask. Our conference that has been convened by the Executive Council of the Kenya Editors Guild. Some of members of that council are here with me, and I'll introduce them, starting with my far right. We have Professor George Nyabuga, who represents academia in the council, and he's a senior lecturer at the School of Journalism at the University of Nairobi. Yeah, Karibu George. Then we have Pamela Sitoni. Pamela Sitoni is a trustee of the Kenya Editors Guild, and she is the executive editor, Nation Media Group. Samuel Maina is the vice president of the Kenya Editors Guild, and is the editor-in-chief of the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation. Thanks. Ruth represents radio on the council of the Kenya Editors Guild, and she is an editor at BBC, based here in Nairobi. And she is an editor at Nation Media Group. Yeah. Then we have Macharia Gaido. Macharia Gaido is a former chairman of the Editors Guild, but currently serves as a trustee of the Guild, and is a consulting editor or independent editor, whichever serves you best. And last but Rosalia Omuyo. We have a few members of the council who have not made it yet here, but are part and parcel of this statement. What is of particular interest to us is the performance of journalism in our country, because we believe media might be broader than journalism, but journalism is core to the media service to our people, to the citizens of Kenya. So I'll go on and read, then thereafter we'll take some questions. The statement is titled, The State of Kenya Media, Journalism in Peril, and is dated today, June 28th, 2020, and it states, Kenya Editors Guild notes with concern difficulties facing the Kenya media since onset of the COVID-19 pandemic. The media has not been spared the global economic depression resulting from the pandemic. Like everywhere else in the world, the media in Kenya has been forced to institute painful measures in the wake of shrinking revenues. Journalists who gather, package, and disseminate content are frontline workers who are directly under threat as they go about their duties. They are at risk of infection while out in the field and face further difficulties operating in an environment of curfew, movement restrictions, and lockdowns. They now face double jeopardy of being victims of the economic troubles facing media houses. Since the COVID-19 pandemic hit Kenya, media houses have been laying off journalists and support staff and enforcing pay cuts. The pandemic exacerbated an already dire situation, with more than 300 journalists having lost their jobs in the past 9 months. We understand that some of these measures, however painful, are absolutely necessary during a period of drastic declines in revenue. Some media houses may have to shut down altogether if they do not find ways to survive until the pandemic ends and a normal business environment resumes. There is justifiable room for concern, however, that some of the austerity measures are being implemented in ways that are unfair to those affected, and in the long run will harm the practice of journalism in Kenya. It is important to point out here that the Kenya Editors Guild does not ordinarily engage on issues that might be the preserve of trade unions. However, the Guild is specifically mandated to, I quote, promote the independence of media to advise members on issues of practical and ethical concern. Members here being editors in our country. We are also mandated to represent members' interests in all matters of editorial and professional concern. Further, we are mandated to provide a forum for the discussion and resolution of challenges facing editors and to promote the objectives of the Guild. End of quote. KEG thus has a mandate to address itself to issues currently afflicting the media in Kenya. Of particular concern are indications that some media houses may be taking advantage of COVID-19 to enforce layoffs and salary cuts. We are also distressed by the unprofessional methods employed by some, such as notifying employees by SMS that they have been retrenched. Laying off workers in any industry is not a matter to be treated casually. It should involve a humane, caring, and participatory process, together with supportive measures such as counseling, psychosocial support, and preparation for change. Cruel and inhumane approaches do no credit to the corporates concerned and the managers responsible. We also note that while freedom of the media is guaranteed by the Constitution, that has to be buttressed by the industry itself, providing conducive workplace environments for journalists to do their work without fear or favor. As the watchdog of society, the media must itself be leading by example in regards to fairness and justice within its ranks. KEG therefore calls on all Kenyans of goodwill to reflect deeply on the state of media, which is currently at a crossroads. We note that the media is the only industry in Kenya specifically guaranteed in the Constitution, specifically guaranteed a constitutional protection, but tracing its essence to our nation's democracy. The free flow of information is a right granted to citizens and will not be achieved in an environment where media operations are hindered by economic troubles and unjust labor practices. The media has played its role as a reliable partner in the fight against COVID-19 by providing true and factual information and countering a deluge of fake news, propaganda, and baseless conspiracy theories. Indeed, in his Madaraka Day honors list, President Uhuru Kenyatta recognized some of the journalists who have offered sterling service reporting the pandemic. It is also notable that the various legal notices issued as part of the effort to contain COVID-19 specifically recognize media as essential service, so as to ensure that the media in Kenya survives the COVID-19 pandemic and reclaims the glory once the pandemic is over. The Kenya Editors Guild recommends as follows. 1. We recommend an urgent convening of stakeholders to discuss the state of media in the COVID-19 and post-COVID-19 period. Towards this, KEG and other representative bodies, including the Kenya Union of Journalists, the Kenya Correspondents Association, the Association of Media Women in Kenya, and the Media Owners Association, also the regulatory body, Media Council of Kenya, Communications Authority, and indeed the Ministry of Information, Communications and Technology will gather at this stakeholders convening to find joint approaches to problems facing the sector. A key pursuit in that convention will be the establishment of a media sustainability fund to help the industry survive the crisis and thrive thereafter. Such funds are already in operation in Europe in the United States and some African countries. They have been put in place out of recognition that media occupies a vital place in times of national and international crisis. 2, we are asking the national and county governments to immediately make good on pending bills that they owe to media houses, so as to enable these media houses sustain their operations. 3, we are asking that the Communication Authority waives licensing fees and signal carriage fees to ensure continued diversity in our media. 4, we recommend that the government offers tax incentives for the media industry as part of a package to ensure survival in these difficult times. In that regard, the government has already committed funds to help the tourism industry, for example, which has been particularly hit hard by COVID-19. The same consideration should be extended to the media sector, along with dedicated funding from all other available sources. Industry players, including employers and journalist representative organizations, must urgently establish counseling, training, and other forms of support for journalists who are presently working under great strain and uncertainty, that being the last one. This statement is issued by the Executive Council for and on behalf of the Kenya Editors Guild, and the names of the council members are listed there. I thank you.
My name is Anita Conrad from NTV, and I have several questions. Looking at these tests, because a lot of journalists who had to test say that the bill is quite expensive, so having to pay 10,000 their employees during this time. What is your appeal to them right now? And should there be recourse for those who are laid off when they're going to the field and potentially exposing themselves and others, those who haven't done that?
Okay, it's contained in the statement. We are basically saying that it is possible that sometimes there's no option but to let some staff members go. But we are saying that when corporations or companies come to that reality, they should strictly follow the law. But as they do that, also exercise a human face or hand in doing so. Yeah, by making sure that those who are affected by such processes are allowed services that will help them assuage the cold bite of losing a job. And there are lots of ideas in terms of how that can be done, including counseling, including advice on how to manage yourself when outside employment. Yeah. The mics are here. Okay.
So you need me to come over there? Yes.
We are looking at media as an essential service in this country. And I think there's an opportunity when we have this convention of stakeholders to look at situations where even government has to chip in to support the media because of the essential role that we play. So while we cannot dictate right now to the government on what it can pay for and cannot pay for, but we think that if we sit together and reason with them, we can come up with a solution where things like masks and sanitizers and testing for journalists should be provided the same way they do for medical staff. Thank you.
Many media entities have had a chance to speak on this. And there are lots of advisories that have been issued, including by the Kenya Editors Guild, but I know for a fact that the regulator, Media Council of Kenya, has also issued safety guidelines on what journalists must do to keep themselves safe, but also on the protection that employers need to make available to their teams as they send them out. I think it behoves us as professionals, because at the end of the day, safety, the first duty of safety is by yourself as a professional. Yeah? Other entities only come in to support your safety orientation. So I would urge all journalists to find these guidelines and to actually adhere to them. Thank you. Any other question?
treating this layoff or retrenchment in a humane way. Number one, these are people with families. These are people with loans. And we are calling on media houses to discuss with employees, because it's easier to discuss with them what situation are we in. We all understand the situation we are in. But the most important thing is we consider these people as people with families, people with commitment, people with loans. So let's not, when we were employing them, we had a very good discussion. So even when we are laying them off, can we also have a good discussion? Because the situation will improve any time in the near future. So let's have a discussion between the employee and the employer, because it's important, very important, that people are treated like human whenever you are laying them off. Thank you.
Are we close? Gone. Thank you. Asanteni sana. They can share too. You guys are here.